In the year 323 BCE, in the Grand Palace of Babylon, one of history's most formidable figures drew his last breath. Alexander the Great was dead at just 32 years old. He had conquered an empire stretching from Greece to India, but his sudden death left a colossal power vacuum. This wasn't the end of his story, though. In fact, it was the beginning of a brand new, vibrant, and incredibly influential era, the Hellenistic Age. What happened after Alexander? How did his vision for a unified world transform into something entirely different, yet equally magnificent? Stick around as we journey through 3 centuries of breathtaking cultural fusion, political drama, and intellectual revolution that shaped the world we live in today. So, what exactly is Hellenization? It's a term that sounds academic, but the concept is fascinating. Hellas is the Greek word for Greece. Hellenization, therefore, is the spread of Greek culture. Before his death, Alexander wasn't just a conqueror. He was a cultural missionary. As he marched his armies across Persia, Egypt, and beyond, he founded over 70 cities, many named Alexandria. These cities weren't just military outposts. They became bustling hubs of Greek language, philosophy, art, and political ideas. The Greek language, specifically a common dialect called Koine Greek, became the lingua franca of the entire Near East. This was a game changer. For the first time, a merchant from Egypt could communicate seamlessly with a scholar in what is now Afghanistan. This shared language broke down barriers and created a truly international community of trade and ideas. Imagine the Roman Empire, but centuries earlier and with a Greek flavor. That's the world Alexander began to build. But with the king gone, who would rule his vast empire? Alexander famously said on his deathbed, "To the strongest." This ambiguous decree sparked nearly half a century of brutal conflict known as the Wars of the Diadochi, or the Successors. His top generals, men like Ptolemy, Seleucus, and Antigonus, who had fought side by side with him, now turned on each other, carving up the empire for themselves. It was a chaotic and bloody free-for-all. Eventually, the dust settled, and Alexander's unified empire fractured into several large Hellenistic kingdoms. The most prominent were the Ptolemaic kingdom in Egypt, founded by Ptolemy; the Seleucid Empire in the former Persian territories, founded by Seleucus; and the Antigonid dynasty in Macedon and Greece. These new kingdoms were no longer just Greek. They were something new, a hybrid of Greek leadership ruling over diverse ancient civilizations. This is where the story gets really interesting. The Hellenistic Age wasn't about Greeks simply imposing their culture on others. It was a dynamic two-way street, a brilliant fusion. Let's look at Egypt. The Ptolemaic rulers, like the famous Cleopatra, presented themselves as traditional pharaohs to the Egyptian people, participating in ancient religious ceremonies and building temples in the Egyptian style. Yet in their capital city of Alexandria, they lived as Greek monarchs, speaking Greek and promoting Greek learning. Art and architecture from this period are incredible examples of this blend. You can see sculptures of Egyptian gods carved in a realistic Greek style. Or look at the city of Ai-Khanum, a Greek city founded in modern-day Afghanistan. Archaeologists there found a gymnasium, a Greek theater, and Corinthian columns right alongside Eastern-influenced art and architecture. It was a true melting pot. This cultural exchange sparked an unprecedented explosion of knowledge and creativity. The city of Alexandria in Egypt became the intellectual capital of the world. Its legendary Library of Alexandria was a repository of all human knowledge, attracting the greatest minds. It was here that Eratosthenes accurately calculated the circumference of the earth, using simple geometry and observation. It was here that Euclid wrote The Elements, a textbook on geometry that was used for over 2,000 years. In the field of astronomy, Aristarchus of Samos proposed a heliocentric model of the solar system, suggesting the Earth revolved around the Sun nearly 2,000 years before Copernicus. In philosophy, new schools of thought like Stoicism and Epicureanism emerged, focusing on personal ethics and how to live a good life in a turbulent, unpredictable world. These philosophies offered guidance and comfort to individuals navigating this vast, interconnected, and often chaotic new reality. Science, medicine, engineering, they all flourished, built upon Greek foundations, but enriched by the ancient knowledge of Egypt and Babylon. So, what is the ultimate legacy of the Hellenistic world? This era, which lasted for about 300 years, acted as a crucial bridge between classical Greece and the Roman Empire. The Romans, as they began their own expansion, didn't enter a world of disparate, isolated cultures. They entered a world already unified by a common language, shared commercial networks, and a blend of cultural ideas. The Romans were immense admirers of Greek culture, and they readily absorbed Hellenistic art, literature, philosophy, and science. The New Testament of the Bible was written in Koine Greek, the language of the Hellenistic world, allowing its message to spread rapidly across the Mediterranean. The political structures, the urban planning, the very idea of a universal civilization, all were concepts the Romans inherited and built upon. The Hellenistic age essentially laid the groundwork, creating a cosmopolitan world that made the rise of Rome possible. The fire that Alexander the Great lit didn't die with him in Babylon. Instead, it spread, transformed, and illuminated the world for centuries, and its glow can still be seen in our own modern civilization. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this exploration of the Hellenistic age fascinating, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the pivotal moments of our shared history. Let me know in the comments which part of this era you find most interesting. See you in the next video.